Welcome back to EARTH1111. I have a special guest with me today that's going to help us figure out how to find free food in a day and age where food is getting so expensive and really there's no nutrients left. I have with me Katie Greenwood. She is an organic farmer. My first guest ever on the show. I guess it's a show, a podcast. And she has actually been working with plant medicine and the consciousness of herbs and wild foods for over 15 years. And she's a mom of 3 amazing little souls. It just shows how awesome it is when you raise kids in a natural environment, because her kids are just amazing little kids.
Thank you.
Welcome, Katie.
Thank you, Roxanne. Yes, they're wild and free.
That's the thing, right? You know, so many kids nowadays are on the screens and kind of inside. These kids are running wild, and they almost know more than we do as far as the connection with plants and nature.
Yeah, they really do, you know. Since they've been little, they've been so interested. And I find that most kids are, because they're born to intuitively know. And they they almost know when I'm on a tour with them, like, hey, this is edible. And I'll be like, yes, good job. Follow your intuition.
So Katie is here to talk about having a conscious relationship with plants and with finding wild foods.
We have slowly lost our connection with plants, and all of a sudden we're so busy and we just need quick things, fast things, and we're walking down the street and walking in our parks blind. And really there's this abundance of free, abundant, nutritionally like crazy foods that grow around us. And not only are they free and abundant, they're alive. So these foods you can't find in the grocery store, and you can find them online, but they're dead. So getting to know what grows around you and where you live or in your backyard that's alive and free and there, and it's actually wanting you to harvest it. It's wanting to have a connection with you. It's in our cells. Our cells are coded to these plants. These plants were here before us. It's all about perspective, really. You can look at a dandelion and be like, oh, you're so annoying. Like, why are you growing everywhere? Or you can be like, wow, this is a real superfood, you know? And if there are dandelions growing everywhere you look, you know,
everywhere,
there might be, they might be trying to say, hey, like, look at me. You need me. Your kidneys need a diuretic. They need help. And so they don't speak English, these plants, like a language like, you know, me and you speak. So what we have to do is listen and feel with our intuition. And what are you trying to tell me? And, you know, you see a dandelion popping out of the cement in a most random place, like that is communication. A dandelion is a superfood, and it's alive, and it's got the flower that's edible, the leaves that are edible, the roots that are edible. And if you were to go to a health food store to buy a dandelion root tea, it's expensive, you know, and really all you have to do is get a shovel and take the time. And we want to take the time because if we harvest that root, we know where it's come from. We know that we harvested it with our intentions, and intentions are a big part of what goes into your cells in your body. When you buy it from the store, you're not really sure who harvested it, when, or, you know.
And my mom, she spends thousands of dollars a month on vitamins, supplements, and she has like a suitcase that she carries around with her when she goes on a trip, full of these vitamins. Now, you can find these same things in your backyard.
Yeah, you can, and you... when you're in tensions and you feel in your heart fully that those supplements are a lifesaver to you and that they're working, they will, because that's how powerful we are as souls and as beings, that if we believe something is working, it will.
Those intentions.
Yeah, it's those intentions, right? But a lot of these supplements don't even grow here. They come from different places, so our body doesn't really recognize what they are. And plus, if we're popping pills, we're missing that connection between smelling, tasting, getting the saliva going, which is getting ready for digestion. It's all one. We are all connected in this way where we need each other and senses to fully digest and absorb what we're taking. So if you were to get some sheep sorrel that's high in vitamin C out in nature and eat it directly from the earth, you're going to get 100 times more vitamins than you would get bought sheep sorrel that was dehydrated and ground and oxidized and rancid, which is then going into your body, and you're spending a ton of money where it's free if you take the time to care for yourself.
And also, who has touched that, right? Like, is it being actually created in a factory? Is it, you know, like, whose energy has been put into that superfood that we are told that we need?
And then the intentions, again, we'll be saying that word a lot, but the intentions are money.
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 It's all about money.
Yes,
surprise,
money.
surprise, right?
So when we have intentions, when we are out in the wild or growing medicinal foods ourselves, our intentions are heart opened and so grateful, and you create this with your own heart and your love and your time. And so that's a big deal, you know? When you're dealing with acidic, rancid things that have been exposed to light and oxygen over, who knows, these supplements might be 10 years old. You don't know, right?
Exactly.
So it does make all the difference. And, you know, Roxanne, like, who knows if the government's even going to take away our health food stores? There was a bill here in Canada that was going to be passed where natural supplements were going to be just taken away. And so there was a lot of fight against that and a lot of petitioning, and it seems to have kind of just rolled away for now, but they're testing us, right?
They do, right?
Yeah.
They try something and they kind of see the feedback. Is there some pushback? Or is it just, oh, okay, no one seems to worry. Let's just, you know, continue with this attempt to stop you from getting natural foods from your store. I actually, too, our actual local health food store, he has such an issue trying to even order things now. Like, he has to order something 5-6 times to actually have it come in the mail. So
they're making it hard.
They are, right? They want you buying the artificial everything made in the multinational corporations' factories. Because, of course, it's all about money, like we always talk about, right?
So, like, knowledge is power. So when you can take your health into your own hands, and let's say the supplement stores did have to close down, if you have learned what grows around you, what's wild, what's free, or learn how to grow medicine in your yard, you kind of have that backup. And you can harvest this stuff and dehydrate it and have it, you know, stored for winter, like a nature's medicine cabinet. And these foods are powerful, you know. They get to the root. They're not just like something that you will take that will cover the symptom.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
This is root medicine.
Right to the core of the issue of what your actual illness is, or really your energy imbalance, because it's all about that, right? You know, obviously we live in a world that treats the symptoms and focuses on all of the surface level issues, but really, what is the core of something? So these plants can actually affect the energy of your system and put it into balance, which is all about ascension and healing and all these things as well. So talking about that now, of course, my audience has a lot of ascension symptoms going on right now, right? Our bodies are actually crystallizing. So how are these plants going to actually help us support our ascension symptoms and hopefully really heal?
Because nature isn't just singular, you know, it's a whole. So if we want and have excitement to learn about what grows in nature, then we get out into nature. And once we're out into nature and eating these alive foods, then when we're in nature and eating alive foods, our nervous systems are grounded, our hormones are balanced, our energy is open, and we're getting oxygenated. And so that's healing, because you can't be in this world of ascension symptoms where it's completely overwhelming you when you're in traffic, scrolling on, you know, your social media or whatever you're doing. So get into nature, take your shoes off, get your hands.
Speaking of which, I'm going to do that right now.
Yeah, let's take our shoes off.
I was actually going to do that earlier.
What are we doing?
And we were getting set up with the cameras, all these 3D things.
Okay, here we go.
We're going barefoot. We have shifted.
Yeah, so take your shoes off, you know, get your hands in there and breathe it in and feel the energy work its way through your body, because it is. We are energetic beings, and the earth is energetic, and it's here to heal us. Yeah. So this is answer
Exactly.
to ascension, because ascension is energy.
Exactly. So obviously natural plants versus some capsule that you can get would definitely help as well too.
And then the capsules also have, stearates or binding agents. The capsules, what are they even made out of? Gelatin, but what's,
exactly.
So if you're taking 8 of these a day of your entire life, it adds up a lot, right?
Exactly.
And so you're kind of like hitting this wall where you're kind of taking something nutritious, but then, so taking a whole bunch of those every single day of your life, little bits add up, And
what is that
natural? What is it? It's
Is it
gelatin like capsules, but like where's it from? Who?
Yeah, some factory somewhere. Some multinational corporation.
So just really always asking questions. Like, this is your vessel. This is your body. We got to take care of it in every way.
Exactly.
This is, especially when we're ascending so quickly, we got to fuel it with the best stuff, the best oxygen, the best foods, alive foods, not dead acid-based foods, because you're just gonna be like stuck, so
it's funny how we live in a world where people will spend so much money on their vehicle, getting oil changes, getting everything perfect, and they won't spend really much money on their own health. Like we said, free food, right outside, right in nature.
And the time is now, because we have to start self-care. And
big time right now.
And really caring, like, back in the day, I would just like eat whatever my kids didn't eat. I didn't give myself the time, because not that I don't deserve it, but I didn't have time. And then I was like, no, you know what? I deserve this, because I'm not going to be well if I don't have enough energy right now. And so, I shifted everything. And
she actually shifted so much. She's living the dream. That's the name of their farm. Okay, so she actually does organic gardening as well, which I don't know if I mentioned at the very beginning, but
I don't remember, but we do.
So her hands are in the dirt 24/7. She's got the brown nails to.
I do. We grow medicinal herbs organically and regeneratively, and we organic farm, and it's such a lovely place to be. Our kids are homeschooled, so they're just like you mentioned before, they help with the farm,
and they have like an actual passion for it, right? So her kids don't feel that, okay, it's some chore, I have to go do something. They actually are out there.
It's just life.
Exactly.
It's just, the way life is. So the wild foods have really helped my kids too, that they know what they can go to when they need help, or their friends got stung by a bee, right? Like, hey, let's go find something, and then they teach. We all teach each other. Like, let's learn, teach our grandparents, or teach our children, and let's pass this information on, because like I keep saying, knowledge is power, and we need to take back our health. And
especially right now too, there's a reason why the world is essentially crumbling all the old systems, because we are meant to have that time back to actually start putting our attention, our money, and everything on what actually matters right now, which is, like you said, slow, and that connection with others, with nature, with the planet,
and health as well.
Health, it is,
because once you get sick, it's stressful, and you're scared, and your cortisol levels are shooting through the roof, and you then have to buy all these, prescriptions. But let's catch it before it happens. And
exactly, prevent it.
Let's live preventatively. And it sounds like, oh, that's so easy to say, and you're right. It is easy to say, and it is hard to do, because sometimes you're like, I just don't feel like it. But then you can stop and say, well, am I worth it? Yes.
So my issue is this, because I spend a lot of time in nature, like every single day, as I've mentioned with you guys all the time. It has saved my life. Also, her food has also saved my life. But so my issue is, I don't feel confident in finding these plants. Essentially, will I find a plant and think it's something else and eat it, and then have some issue, right? So even though I get the energy of the trees, of nature, of the elements, I find that for me to go the next level and actually eat those plants directly from nature and not buy them from her farm, it's kind of scary for me.
Yeah, well, it's definitely can be intimidating, right?
Yeah.
Because we have actually been raised, and this is purposely, with a lot of fear around nature, so that we don't
Blair Witch Project. Remember that movie back in the day? You know,
it's like, don't eat this free food. You need to buy it. You need to buy it. So there is this fear. But what we have to remember is that we have this in our DNA from our ancestors. They knew. There was no Western medicine. There was no science labs. They knew.
There was no grocery stores. Exactly.
They lived off this medicine because they had intuition and feeling. And I'm not saying to just be like, oh, my intuition says I can eat this. No. But if you keep being drawn towards a plant, either it's energetically trying to be a medicine to you, and you can sit with that plant, and you can meditate with that plant, and you can look at its leaves and its flowers and dissect it. Spend time with it. It's not going to be a quick like, oh, it's not a, I don't know. You need to invest time into getting to know that plant, because it's a relationship. And that's what conscious harvesting and, being with nature is it's not quick. It's getting to know someone. Like any kind of friend or new relationship, you want to get to know them. What they look like when they're young, as they get older. And once, it's not going to take one day. It's going to take a few times going out, and then maybe bringing someone with you. Or with the Wild Foods Workshop, there is a PDF guidebook that comes with it.
She actually teaches workshops here locally where we live. But I was like, Katie, you got to film these. You got to get this online for me to post. So tell me about this brand new course that you have created for us.
Yeah, it was so much fun. So I've done a 10 module with 10 of the most kind of popular wild foods out there.
Okay.
And just teaching you up close and personal, like what to look for, how to recognize it, what its features are, what its personality is, how to harvest it, what time of year to harvest it, how to dehydrate it. So we go into all these things, and it's really fun, and it's more geared towards the conscious, connected person that is willing to connect with the plant.
Exactly.
And respect it and sustainably harvest it. And that's what we teach and we learn about, is reconnecting to nature, where we always have been. To reconnect. So that's what this course is about. I'm really excited. It's awesome because everybody thinks, oh, I have to ingest the plants in order for it to heal me. But that's not true.
Yeah, everyone kind of like uses crystals, but you can, so like Katie said, you can actually hold a plant or like a leaf of something and actually connect to the spirit of that plant that way as well.
You can, or you can smell it. And when you smell a lavender plant, you're like, oh, that reminds me of my grandma, and it brings a joyful memory. And that feeling of joy, a lot of us have lost because life's so busy and stressful and expensive, and to even feel that feeling of joy for 1 second changes your hormone and your state of being, and that's healing.
Exactly.
So there's so many ways plants can offer medicine.
Yeah. So I actually watched this documentary on this big company that sells essential oils. And it's interesting how there's just no intention with a lot of these large companies that are selling these wellness products. So all we see is like on TikTok or Instagram, right? All these people selling these essential oils and, all the happy vibes. But it's like you have to go to the core of where these corporations come from and all of their intention. And of course, as we mentioned, it's all about profits a lot of the time. So that is why sourcing your own herbs naturally is where it's at, isn't it? Yeah.
When you wild harvest, whether it be lemon balm or whatever you're looking for, it's growing there because it wants to grow there. It's chosen to grow there. It's vibrant, the most vibrant plant you'll ever see. So when you're actually planting lemon balm in a 2-acre field so that you can just cut it down and harvest it, it's farming agriculturally for money profits. So when the soil is depleted,
that's
because
a big
you
issue.
keep growing the same thing over and over again, are you actually getting the nutritional properties that plant offers? Because the plant grows naturally where it should. In the wild, you are getting 100% of the minerals and the vitamins and the enzymes, the energy, because it's so happy. Plants are intelligent beings. They're alive. They communicate, and just because they're not human-like and they communicate differently doesn't mean that they aren't intelligent. And so if these essential oils and, all this, we can't do anything about it. They're there. We all buy them, and, sometimes that's great. But, when we're breathing in right now, we're breathing in the salt water from the ocean. We're breathing in the mycelium spores from the wild mushrooms that grow around. We're breathing in the pollen from the pine. Our bodies already know these plants exist, and they're waiting. They're waiting for us to go and eat some of the berries from this elder tree, or make
See, she even knows what this is. I had no idea.
Make a tea with the, our bodies are accustomed. They already know it's already in our DNA because it knows we live here. So we are going to really absorb this nutrition much better than somewhere that comes from Jamaica, where we're like never smelt it, never tasted it. We're not part of the whole with that.
So it's almost like your DNA can't recognize it or something, almost a little bit. Hey,
right, and maybe it can from, your ancestors.
Yeah.
There's memory there. There's memory, and if you feel like, hey, I really need this stuff, listen to your body. Your subconscious knows what you need, or it knows what you don't need. If someone's like, you got to take this, it's so good for you, and you're like, oh, I just feel really repulsed by that, trust that.
There's a lot of marketing out there that tells you need this superfood, right? You need this one. But it's like, do you? Or is it that this company is just paying big bucks to hire all these affiliate marketers, for example, on TikTok to push their superfood? I wouldn't say like a pyramid scam, but there's a lot of those ones out there.
We need to step away from spending more money. Yes, invest in your health, but invest in your health in time. In your time, in your energy, in your knowledge, in taking your health back and your families. And if you feel the need to go out and buy some powders, and you really feel you need that, that's great. But these are expensive, and they might be telling you this is the best, and maybe it is in their opinion. But when you're making that much, small batches, small company, locally owned, locally resourced, or done yourself, and this is quality. Because what you put into your body, like I said, you guys, this is your temple. So know where it comes from. Know your farmers. Know where you're harvesting isn't a sprayed, area herbicide that's had herbicides on it. And it sounds so complicated, I know. And it's a lot to take in. But once you start getting curious, and you're walking down the trail, after you watch this, I know you're going to do this. You're going to walk down the trail, you're going to see that dandelion, you're going to want to not look, but something in you,
it's calling you.
Okay, fine, I'll pick you. And, you're going to feel less tired. You're going to have more energy. You're going to rid this heaviness from you because nature wants to connect with you, and it wants to give you, not to say it's going to cure cancer overnight, because it's not. You can't go eat a dandelion root and be good. It's consistency, and it's love.
Exactly.
It's love. It's thank you, dandelion, for this medicine.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing also with foraging or really any attempt to connect with nature. Obviously, this being has its own energy. It's alive. So essentially, when you go to harvest it, you have to ask that permission. You have to actually connect with that plant, and not just, oh, here's some stuff, I'm going to take it. Which we see all over the internet as well, all these kind of prepper, almost like farm people everywhere that, there's not a lot of that connection, which is why I love Katie, because she's so knowledgeable about it, and she has that love for these plants, like beings,
Thank you.
I feel that, right?
Yeah.
I feel that.
Yeah, so harvesting a plant, when I speak about talking to it, you don't actually have to be like, hello, plant, because people might feel self-conscious doing that.
Yeah.
I do it. But
I do it.
Okay, so there's many of you that do that.
I'm the tree weirdo in the woods.
But you can speak to it through your heart.
Yeah.
And you can, when I'm about to harvest, if my daughter is having a sneezing fit and I'm going to need some stinging nettle to make a tea with, I will tell the stinging nettle, what's going on. And I don't have to speak, but I can tell it through my heart or through my head, and we can speak telepathically, vibrationally. And when it gives itself and it allows me to harvest it, it's giving me even more of its life, because I've asked.
I'm feeling that.
And it's more healing. So, but you're appreciating it, giving you its life.
Exactly.
It's giving its life for you, and
literally,
when it feels like it doesn't mind. But when you're taking the whole thing so it can't go to seed and reproduce, it doesn't like that. So we have to harvest sustainably, where you're not, taking everything. We don't own nature. It's not our right to do that. We need to ask and thank, and you can leave nature something if you choose. And it could even just be that grateful feeling. It can be some tobacco, whatever is dear to your heart, it will feel that. So it's coming back, you guys. It sounds a little bit, I know I hear from a lot of people like, oh, no, but
it's some woo-woo stuff. But obviously you guys know about the stuff, right? Obviously my audience is actually exactly for this, because, right, you guys already connect with spirit, whether it's with plant medicine, whether it's with your guides, your angels, right? Essentially our Mother Earth. Whereas a lot of people, right, like you said, kind of think of nature as food, right? It's a farm, it's growing for us to eat it, but there's no connection with it.
Yeah, the connection's big. I mean, my kids just had a sore throat go around, and some stuffed sinuses, and we went out and we juiced some plantain leaf, and that just clears everything away. And they were just, when you take the plantain juice and you fully are in gratuity and knowing it's going to work, it's going to work. But when you're in the mentality of, oh no, only prescription, this isn't going to work for me, it's not going to work.
That's big right now. Essentially, we're being pushed, essentially in the world where the old ways are no longer working on all levels, especially with health, right? And there's a reason for that. Is because we are meant to reconnect with nature again
and remember,
right? Because you do know inside already, but
we don't trust it yet.
That's a big thing for sure.
We don't trust that we know, but just try trusting.
Exactly. People trust outside experts, right? The doctor, they trust that, but it's like we need to come back to trusting our own intuition, the connection with
and
more
feeling, touching, being gentle.
Our senses.
And you will be so surprised at what is in your own backyard, what is in your favorite trail that you go to every day. It's abundant, like delicious stuff. Like there's some fiddleheads at the grocery store for like $20 a pound or something.
Oh my God.
You can go harvest this stuff.
So right now is also the best time too, right? Isn't it kind of early summer where all those fresh...
Yeah, you know what? There's actually wild foods in...
all year long, or?
In early, like coming out of winter, early spring.
Okay.
And then in spring. And it goes with the seasons because it's connected to our bodies. So when we're experiencing season change, all of a sudden the spruce tips come out, which are packed in vitamin C. Nature, we are connected. So there's always the elderberries aren't quite ready yet, but they're almost ready. And then just in that time of season change again, right? It's amazing. If you just pay attention, be present, take a deep breath and just clear your mind and be with nature and look around and ask, get curious. And once you get curious and you can say, hey, I can eat those blackberry leaves. Oh, I can do this. So that's what I really wanted to get across in the course, is just how easy it is to find it and process it. And a lot of the herbs and plants that I cover are very obvious. There's no way you can not, so I kept really basic and really easy to identify.
So essentially your course will cover a lot of places all over the world where people can find these exact plants.
Exact plants, yeah.
And bring your kids. Kids would love to be able to actually run around there and like find these things.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, they'll probably know more than you.
Let's be honest. Most kids nowadays are knowing a lot more than us.
They're very intuitive, especially these new kids.
Yeah.
Listen to them. They're your teachers. They really are. I mean, give them a chance and say, what does your heart say? And then say, okay, well, let's ask the plant if we can harvest it, and let's take it home. And then once you take it home, you can try to identify it more through Google if you're not sure, or a plant app, or a field reference guidebook. You can look for defining features. There's information. There's so much information out there. You just have to look.
Exactly. So any final tips? Like I said, she's a wealth of information for us.
if I have any tips, it would be like go buy a juicer.
Okay.
Or a blender, because it's so easy to just grab a bunch of greens, because some of them don't taste great.
Yeah, very bitter a lot of times, exactly.
But what does bitter do? It activates your digestion.
Yeah.
So we're all like, oh, it has to be sweet or this, but this is, we need to have bitter foods as well. And a lot of digestion problems are happening right now. So the more we can eat those dandelion roots and dandelion greens, and it doesn't have to be like forcing yourself to do it. You can cut them up small and add them to a salad that you love. You can juice them, put them in a blender and make a green smoothie.
Yeah, we make green smoothies every single day. I have at least 2 of them, and you just pile stuff in there. You don't even have to chew.
It doesn't have to make sense.
Exactly. And you just chug it back, and it's not sweet, but that just is packed. I feel like alive after I chug my green smoothies. Yeah.
And take note what's growing around you. This is so important. If there's a ton of one plant, it might clear your lymphatic system. Whatever's growing around you has a purpose. And especially if all of a sudden you're noticing one certain plant at the baseball field, at the park, at your kid's school, in your front yard, like, where did this plant come from? Please take note, because it's important for your health.
Yeah, once you start noticing it, then it's kind of like it comes into your awareness more and more. And also, that's also why in society, right, we all have lawns. They want you to use pesticides on all of these supposed weeds, because those are actually the real superfoods that can heal you.
That's a perfect word, Roxanne. It's a superfood. You can't beat them, you can't top them. They're not being farmed, they grow where they want to grow, and that's vibrancy.
You can't get rid of them.
No. And that goes into your cells and into your body, that vibrancy and that love. So get curious, get excited, get out there.
Exactly. Thanks so much, Katie. I really appreciate everything.
Thank you, guys.
And I'll be posting actually some links to her brand new course, and it's on sale right now, so definitely check it out for a lot more tips.
Yay! Welcome to the magical world of plants. Not just any plants, the ones that grow wild and free. Knowledge is power. Join us as we become acquainted with nature's medicine cabinet. It will take a sense of adventure, an open heart, and a curious mind. These plants and roots have been used for thousands of years for herbal remedies. It's time for us to reconnect and to relearn and even to remember all the information that's stored in our DNA from our ancestors. This is an exciting and empowering time. Let's pass on everything we learn to our friends, our family, and our children. Join us as we trek into our own backyards, fields, parks, and trails. Let's discover all of these plants that grow wild and free around us and tap into their incredible medicinal qualities. What kind of plant is it? How can I identify it? How do I know when is the right time to harvest? What parts of the plants do I use? And how can I preserve the plant going into the winter? These are all things that we'll cover during our workshop. Rain or shine, here we go.
Thanks so much. This has been EARTH1111. I'm Roxanne. Subscribe to the channel, and maybe I'll have Katie back for another talk some other time. Take care. All right, bye-bye.